Hello everyone, Mr. Dino023 here with today's or this week's interview of Speedruns Personalities. This time we have with us SBDWolf. He's an amazing Cuphead player. At one point in time, he held all the world records for all the different categories. It's like over 40 categories on Cuphead that he had world records on. He had a lot of world records in Castlevania as well, and he keeps helping improving the Castlevania 1 strategies. And he also is an incredible runner of VKC2 among many other different games. He's pretty much an all-around gamer, an all-around speedrunner, and amazing person. So make sure to check him out, check his interview, as well as follow him in all his social media that I'm gonna be linking down there below. And while you're at it, remember, if you like this type of content, if you want to see more speedrunning content, more information about the project I'm doing called SNES Mania, which I intend to beat every single game on the SNES library, or just tune in to have fun and all that, make sure to subscribe to this channel or check me out on Twitch every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Central. Alright, with that being said, let's go ahead and check out with this Wolf interview. Hey everyone, Mr. Dino023 here with another episode of Speedruns Personalities, and today we are joined here by the amazing, talented world record man, Mr. SBDWolf. SBDWolf, how is your day going today so far?
Hey, pretty good. I've been having good days lately.
That's pretty nice to hear. All right, man, so I know about yourself, but I don't know if everybody watching knows a lot about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about SBDWolf and himself as a speedrunner?
I speedrun games.
Pretty straightforward.
Nah, okay, yeah. Well, I started with Cuphead, taking it seriously, I guess, all the way in 2017 when it came out. And it was one of those things when you just know when you really like a game a lot that you want to like do more with it. And the first thing that really clicked my interest was speedrunning it. And I was like, okay, time to do something special with this game, and I really liked it a lot. And then from there, after running Cuphead exclusively for basically over a year, I decided to start tackling Castlevania, and then I started tackling more games from the Castlevania series, and now I'm running more games than that as well.
Got it. So yeah, Cuphead was definitely the game that I knew you for at the beginning. And considering the time that you have been speedrunning, I don't want to say you're new, but you're not also as veteran as many other speedrunners. So let me ask you, what inspired you to start speedrunning, and why was Cuphead your first choice?
Well, it was probably a mix of Games Done Quick and TMR. Because I was familiar with like Games Done Quick. I found out about it in like 2014, 2015, somewhere around that time frame. And that's where I like recognized how cool speedruns were. And like after I was already familiar with that and Cuphead came out, I saw, it must have been recommended to me on YouTube, I guess. I saw TMR's runs of Cuphead. And I was like, hey, this is cool.
And then you just became incredibly good at Cuphead. At one point in time, you even like went for all the world records of all the categories that existed at the time. You have developed a lot of strats. Can you tell us a little bit more about like what is your process for learning a game, and how do you come up with new strats?
I don't know. I remember probably the first thing that started to click with me was when Cuphead got patched and it eliminated a lot of glitches that were used in the run at the time. And that sort of tickled my, I don't know, I guess it just kind of hit a nerve on me, because the reaction for most people was, oh, hey, this game is now impossible to run, actually a garbage run. And that's where I became interested in going, I don't know, I guess tendency, and trying to figure out exactly how you could run the game without all the glitches that it had. And since then, I just learned a valuable lesson to always try to not take anything for granted that people already do or say. And I apply it a lot today. Like even a game that has been out for many years, there is still a seriously high potential for strats that just haven't been discovered, that people haven't thought about. I don't know, for example, in Castlevania 1, they used to take the long whip, but there was no reason to actually take the long whip. It was just a thing that people used to do since forever, and it was just taken for granted. So like that's just a thing I do, I guess, one of my trademark things, I guess. I like when I pick up a new game, when I learn a new game, I always try to understand why a thing is done in the run, and try to also understand if there are different approaches, of different ways of to go about things.
Got it. So yeah, you touched very important topics here that I wanna talk a little bit more about with you. So let's go first one by one. First on Cuphead, you made a very interesting point about people saying, hey, you know what, with the new patch, this game is now impossible to run and things like that. And in my own personal opinion, I even think that the newer patches, the type to pull the glitches and stuff like that, it's even like way more technical and probably more interesting to run than what Legacy is, with where most of the run is the weapon swap glitch. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, okay. Don't get me wrong, Legacy is still like an incredibly hard run, just because it has a lot of actually hard glitches and the run is very optimized, so it comes down to a handful of seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once you remove the weapon swap glitch, Cuphead becomes an incredibly technical game with just a lot of information that you're gonna know to cut things optimally. And yeah, it just Cuphead has gotta have one of the highest skill ceilings that I must have ever seen in any game, just because of all the ways you've gotta go about bosses. It's just an incredible amount of information. We've seen even runners that are familiar with retro titles just pick that game up and still be like a minute or 2 or 3 away from record when it comes to the newer patches. While we've definitely seen people improve faster in Legacy.
Got it.
And to me, it definitely looks more interesting, I guess, when you see a run made on newer patches, just because you're always wondering why a thing is being done.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just looks like a more intriguing run, I guess. That is not as straightforward, with a lot to delve deep into.
And I completely agree. I know a little bit of Cuphead, of course not at your level, but I like to run Legacy because a lot of the stuff going on in any newer patches is way too insane for me. So yeah, definitely, I agree with what you said. And I want to ask you about, like, you mentioned about the new strats in Castlevania, like this one about the short whip. And I was speaking with Tuznek actually on another interview, and he said that you have come up with a lot of new strats that you have shared a lot with him as well. So with these new strats, how do you think of those? Like, do you just challenge like all the decisions that are being taken? Because Castlevania, it's one of the oldest games probably that has been a speedrun. It's an incredibly old game. There's a lot of fan base around Castlevania, so there might be many strats that maybe you would think like, hey, these strats are there because this game has been around for many years, so this has to be the fastest way, right? But then you come up with like new stuff. So is this stuff that suddenly just clicks to you and you're like, hey, maybe this is faster? Or do you have a certain method to start testing things on why they could be faster?
Yeah, it really just boils down to coming up with ideas. Like, I don't think there's a specific method. It's just comes down to people coming up with an idea and then going out there and testing out if it's faster for the most part. Like just recently, for example, it just occurred to us. There was a Cookie Monster manip that was found.
Oh.
I don't know if Tuznek talked about this on his interview, because it was a pretty interesting moment. But we found this manip. Basically, if you just hold down B while you're throwing the crosses after a 2 cycle, he just jumps immediately on the first frame, because the check for the Cookie Monster to jump is whether you're holding B or not. So after that was found, like there were quite a few months that passed by until someone called the Real Bong went out there and said, hey, why are we not throwing the second cross towards the Cookie Monster instead of backwards, so it hits 2 times instead of 1, you know? And like, you just don't think about those things once you're already a runner. that is used to the strats that are being used. But
Yeah.
once you see those new strats, those newer optimal strats, you just go, how did I not think about this before? But yeah, no, it's totally because, I don't know, things change. And I guess before the cookie manip was found, throwing the cross towards the cookie monster wasn't a good way to go about it, because the cookie monster could jump later. So it was optimal to throw it backwards so you could get closer to the cookie monster earlier. But with the cookie manip, then that logic didn't make any sense anymore. But since we were all old runners and stubborn and just always accepted that the best way to go about it was to throw the cross backwards, we just never went back and thought about it.
Got it. And that's very
just take somebody with a fresh view. Yeah. Go ahead. I was just gonna do a useless final remark.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I was gonna say that is very interesting, because I've always think that in the speedrunning communities, there's like people like with different roles. There's the people that find strats, people that do TAS, there's people that are like incredibly technical, but maybe they're not as good as executing stuff on a real run. And then there's like, of course, the speedrunners, and in the speedrunners, like the actual people that love doing runs, like the top percentage with like the world records and stuff like that. Let me ask you, like in these many probably different roles, what is your favorite part of speedrunning? Is it routing, finding strats, doing real runs, learning new games? What is your favorite part about speedrunning?
Question. I like probably a mix of actually doing the runs and the routing. Like you don't get to do the routing very often, because it takes either a new category, a new game, which you only come by like every once in a while, and you're one of those people that hunts down garbage games that nobody has run before. But yeah, and then I love actually doing runs of that route and seeing the route come together, I guess. That would be like my favorite part of the whole speedrunning scene.
Got it. Nice. Yeah, I was seeing a game that I've never heard in my life, Maui Mallard in Cold Shadow. You're the first place on that one. Yeah, and you have a lot
first
of
and only place. I'm still waiting for someone to run that.
Hey,
Mario Mallard is a game that got released on Genesis, SNES, and PC, and the SNES version has been run. What hadn't been run was the PC/Genesis version. They're basically the same. I ran it on PC.
Okay.
And that one, like a lot of games that got released on both SNES and Genesis, they're like completely different games, like completely different levels, completely different mechanics. But nobody had bothered with the Genesis version for some reason. And that was a game from my childhood. So as soon as I found, revisited that game, and I looked up on speedrun.com to see if somebody had done a run of it, and I saw that nobody had done a run of it, I immediately knew what I had to do.
That's pretty cool, to be honest. And hey, there's the invitation for everybody. There's a leaderboard for Maui Mallard, and there's a run that you can now check out, so make sure
Second place is literally free.
Just finish the game in one sitting.
Yep.
Yeah, great. So now I want to ask you next, what is your thought process about choosing a game to speedrun? Because I see like there's very many different games that you have run. I can see games, well, of course, like Cuphead, Messenger, which are more like new indie 2D platformers kind of thing. And then there's the stuff like Castlevania, which clearly you're very good at. There's stuff like Donkey Kong Country 2, that it's also a very different type of game that you're also very good at. And I can also see even games like Pokemon, which are RPGs. So there's a mix of very many different games in many different genres, categories, and ages, like apart between each other. What is your thought process before choosing a game to speedrun?
I just like to speedrun games I like, because if I'm gonna have to speedrun something, that implies spending a lot of hours on a game, and that means that it better be a game that I freaking like to run it that much, I don't know. As far as genre goes, I'm mostly into platformers, but other than that, I like to tackle new and fresh things. Even if it means running an RPG, I'm definitely always looking forward to it. It's just a new experience.
Okay, great. So let me ask you about, and we were talking just a tiny little bit before the interview about the VIC-20. So I think you're planning to join. Do you have any plan going forward? And do you think that all your experience in speedrunning is gonna help you to be able to learn
Huh.
like 20 games in a month or something?
It's definitely gonna help, but the thing that I'm weak at, and it's one of the reasons why I'm joining with 20, is because I have to relearn how to learn games and not be super meticulous in them. Because, like, for example, you are organizing a messenger tournament in the meanwhile, and at one point I considered joining that one just for fun. Messenger is a game I used to run, and I found myself, I was booted it up, and I found myself immediately looking up every room and looking up the fastest and most optimal way to do that room.
Yeah.
And like I went all the way through Autumn Hills, and I had spent like hours right after, and I immediately knew that I wasn't going to be able to go through the whole game with that approach, just doing a tournament for fun like that. So I hope the Big 20 is going to serve me as a learning experience to just not, whenever the time comes for it, to just not obsess over small things. Because that's the approach I've taken on games recently. When I learned Donkey Kong Country 2, I spent close to 2 weeks just learning, just trying to figure out my way around stages and the fastest way. And I went for most of the hard strats right away. That's a really good approach if you want to get good times in the long term. You struggle a lot towards the beginning. Yeah. You struggle to either finish runs or finish good runs that don't die. But eventually it just clicks. Eventually you just get to a point months later where it just clicks and you don't know how you got so consistent at everything. At least that's the experience I found.
No, I agree with you. I think that would be very good advice, especially if you want to go for the best times. But like you said, probably the mentality going towards it might be harder because you're gonna struggle more, like finishing runs with the harder strats almost from the very beginning. But like you said, eventually if it clicks, immediately your times are gonna be like way better than trying to finish runs with not the most optimal strats. And again, I think it depends on the person, right? Whether they wanna just finish runs and improve little by little, or they wanna go for like really, really good times from the start. But I agree with you. So
do people know what the Big 20 is, by the way? Just in case.
I assume they know, but if you guys don't know, you want to talk a little bit more about what Big 20 is?
Yeah, the Big 20 is a biannual challenge that's organized by Best of NES. And what it consists of is it gives you a list of 20 NES games that you have to learn in the span of about a month, which is pretty daunting. And it just means that you don't have the time to learn every single game very meticulously.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, I think, and a lot of the people in the retro communities join. I think specifically this one, it's gonna be huge due to the list being chosen by players. So the 20 games are just amazing games and in very, very different categories. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like anybody watching, you guys should join as well, or at least watch it, or at least watch it on September. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to learn, participate, and be a part of this event. And speaking of events, I know you've been to ESA at least once. I'm not sure if you've been more than once there. So
just once.
Oh, just once. So how was your experience doing runs in front of a live audience and getting to know a lot of people that you knew, like via Twitch on chat? That, I mean, you know, there were runners out there in the world, but like, was this something you enjoyed? Is this something that you want to repeat in the future? How was your experience overall being part of ESA and running at ESA?
Oh yeah, ESA was awesome, and I was planning on going to ESA again this year until 2020 things happened. But yeah, I'll definitely plan to join again next year, hopefully. Maybe even go to GDQ one day if I'm gonna have enough money to afford it. But yeah, it's one thing if you're just talking to people online through Twitch or through Discord or whatever, and it's another thing if you actually get to meet them in person. It's just a completely different experience, and it's awesome. And as far as the actual run that I got to do at ESA, that was a Cuphead run. It was a co-op race between TMR and I and Kirthar and Kaleba. And that was actually pretty nerve-wracking, I have to say, because there's a pretty big build-up to it. You're waiting all day for your run, and then the time comes and you wait through setup, you go through all the technical check, and then you're told that you're live. You know, it's a huge anticipation, and then the moment of a run, I guess you kind of get in the zone a bit. But I remember having the experience that whenever something went wrong, it will always kind of be a little bit nerve-wracking. Luckily, like, it was a co-op run, so if I die, TMR always has the chance to revive me, and the opposite, the other way around as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. And especially, like, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people live in there, and also a lot of people watching on their houses. So I agree.
Yeah.
It can definitely be a nerve-wracking experience. So let me ask you a couple more things. Overall, in your speedrunning history, is there any achievement that you have not yet met, that you have in mind that you want to tackle in the future? And also, from what you have done already, do you have any favorite achievement you have already gathered?
Out of everything that I've already achieved, probably the Castlevania 1 1124, which is now the former world record, but at the time it used to be a 3 seconds world record in a pretty optimized game. So that was probably the run that I was proudest of at the time. As far as what I haven't done yet, I just plan on pushing my thumb down in DKC2 even more. And that game being tough as nails, even if I don't wind up going for world record, that's probably still going to be a great achievement. And another thing I plan on doing, I have this project in my mind. I've already talked about this in my Twitch channel before, but this will take me a while, but I kind of want to learn all the pre-Symphony of the Night console Castlevania games. So that would include Castlevania 1, 2, 3, Super Castlevania 4, Dracula X, which I already know, that's out of 4. Round of Blood, Bloodlines, the 3 Game Boy Castlevanias. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but, like, you know, just a whole bunch of linear Castlevania games. And then I'll just want to do a big marathon of it at the end. Just speedrun them all one after the other. I'm sure that sounds like a really cool project in my head.
It does sound amazing. Let me ask you, does this include Castlevania for DOS?
No. That's not a console.
Okay. I understand. So now, Wolf, let me ask you. So for people watching this interview, where can they find SBDWolf? Where can they tune in for your videos, your streams? Like, tell us a little bit more where they can find you.
I guess both on Twitch, twitch.tv/SBDWolf, and I have a YouTube channel where I mostly only upload my my PBs in speedruns. So that's, you know, just SBDWolf on YouTube. I do plan maybe on doing a little bit more with my YouTube channel, but we'll see.
All right. And before we close this interview, Wolf, do you have any last words, any comments, any shout-outs that you would like to say?
I don't know. I guess this has been a really fun hobby for me so far. Like, I've gone through a lot of things in the past where I pick up like an activity and then drop it maybe not even a year after picking it up. But speedrunning for me has been consistently fun, so I'm really happy with what I've been doing lately. And shoutouts to the whole speedrunning community, honestly. You know, the Cuphead community, the Castlevania runners, the Donkey community. Like, honestly, everyone I've interacted with in the speedrunning community has been an absolute pleasure to interact with.
Awesome, Wolf. Well, thank you so much for your time. And like, again, everybody, SBDWolf here, and we're gonna be leaving all the links where you can find him down below. Definitely worth 100% to check him out. He's one of the best speedrunners I've ever seen, like, improve so fast in every single game. So definitely, if this is a hobby that you would like to get on, and also if top times is something that you would be looking for, I 100% recommend you guys check out Wolf and learn a lot about him. He's an incredible guy. Thank you so much, Wolf, for your time on this interview. And well, I don't know. I guess I'll see you everybody in the next mission.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Honestly, it's been a pleasure.
Great. All right, I'll see you around. And well, there you have it. That was the interview with SBDWolf. Remember that we're gonna keep posting interviews with different speedrunning personalities every single week. So if you have anybody in mind that I should be reaching out and see if I can get an interview with, make sure to leave it out in the comments or join the Discord or reach out to me via Twitter or anything. As well as also make sure to check me out in Twitch, twitch.tv/MrDino023 every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Central. There's gonna be more content like this one, as well as more speedruns news, more information about the tournaments that we're hosting in GG Speedruns. All the matches are gonna be around here, and well, many more information. So, well, with that being said, as always, I'll see you on the next mission. Have a good one, everybody.